I can think of where I was just really happy. It was maybe like a 5 or 6 week period.
And what was
Because
that?
I have a lot of anxiety though. I'm always stressing out about things. I'm a glass is 2/3 empty kind of person. I think I'm just not happy because I don't want to be happy.
What were the ingredients of those happy 5 weeks?
And were they consecutive or?
Yeah, like I can think of a 6 week period about a year and a half ago.
Really?
That was probably.
What were the ingredients?
This is when I was in Ithaca.
What makes you happy?
I think when I was surrounded by a lot of people who I felt were just like me.
Yeah.
Because I think I haven't often felt that.
Right.
That's why I was so happy in college. Because
Okay.
it was probably the first and only time, those 4 years. I mean, like, I definitely had miserable stretches
Right.
during those 4 years,
Yeah.
and little bouts of depression or anxiety or whatever.
Yeah.
It wasn't all, like, roses, but,
Right.
but yeah, it was just a sense of being, like, with my people.
Yeah,
You know?
exactly.
Yeah.
Like you're in
so
a
great.
place where you feel like you fit in, where
Yeah.
people understand you,
Yeah.
where you're not just going through the motions, so
Oh,
that
yeah.
you can be part of a
You can
community.
it was,
Yeah.
that's why.
Yeah, for me, happiness. The happiest times of my life are when I felt like an important part of the community.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Where I felt important and where I felt
Like your presence matters in
where
the community.
where my presence mattered, that I had an important role to play,
Yeah.
and that I was part of a team and a group, and
Yeah.
that feeling of community, makes for happiness.
Yeah. Interesting. Oh. Happiness. Life's too complicated to be happy. The more I learn, the more unhappy I become.
I know what you mean.
It's true.
Like, which knowledge has been the most unhappiness giving?
Oh, I think because as the more I learn about religion, even Judaism, the more I learn about the Hebrew Bible, the more I study it, it's kind of like a paradox because in many ways I feel closer to God, but in other ways I feel farther because I learned so many things. I learned so many things about like the construction of the text and so on and so forth that I feel like I don't know anymore. I don't know the answer. I don't know what God is anymore. Mm-hmm. I don't know. I mean, I know the Hebrew Bible, that I know, but I don't even know what that means. And I think that's just, it's scary. I mean, there's something liberating about it, but I think it can be kind of frightening too. Like, it's easier just to know. Like, that's what's so easy about Christianity. It's just, Jesus is the way.
It's so neat and tidy.
That's
You
so
just accept
easy.
it,
Yeah. It's so easy.
I know.
Yeah. So, but I don't know that I want that though either. I think I like complication. I think I do because I think I inevitably invite it into my life without realizing it. So it must make me happy on some level. I'm probably feigning unhappiness. I don't know, to a certain degree.
Yeah, it stokes something in you. It keeps you engaged.
Yeah, exactly.
Is there any knowledge that has made you particularly unhappy?
Yes. There is. And it haunts me daily. And it's really, it's just knowing too many gory details about oppressed people and animals in the world. I just know too much about it, and it's like I wouldn't have it any other way because I want to be conscious and I want to be aware because I want to do whatever I can.
Right.
But by the same token, there's very little I can do. Or at least that's the way it feels, and I know there are people who would argue with me on that, but I do feel a lot of the time helpless and just useless in the face of all of these things that break my heart that I would love to fix and change. And
Like, which leading things break your heart?
like encountering a story about, say, a region in Africa where there's literally not even so little. There's literally nothing to eat, and so they eat mud pies. That kind of thing. Or having seen horrifying pictures about the way animals raised for food are treated. You know, things like that, where it's just like,
you don't want to know.
this system is all wrong, and it's you know, I feel it almost like I can sometimes I experience the emotional reaction to these things almost like in a physical way, and all I want to do is fix it
How often do you think about it?
daily. So I can be happy in stints and stretches, but then it's hard to sustain that when you are aware of, you know, this is what Tikkun Olam is all about. I mean, this is apparently one of the reasons given for why a groom at a Jewish wedding at the very end stomps on a glass and shatters it, because even in the midst of our joy, we're supposed to remember that the world is broken, and you know,
Yeah.
while we may be happy in this moment, we have to keep fixing things because everything is not right.
Are you sad that we don't have the temple so we can sacrifice animals to God like we used to?
Am I sad about that? No,
Yeah.
I'm not sad about that. Are you?
How about you, Monica?
I
Like, do you
deeply
tear
lament
up-
the
you tear
absence
up
of
the temple
yeah.
and the
I
sacrificial
do. I
cult?
do. I'm a Sadducee at heart.
Like you wish the blood would flow once again in the
Oh,
service of God?
Yeah, you know me.
Like the bleeding of the animals, the screams as the throats are being cut?
Well, they
Yeah,
should be
that's enough
screaming
for
if it's
me.
done
Yeah.
correctly.
Ooh.
No meat hooks.
No.
Like, is there anything going on in the world that makes you unhappy?
A lot of things make me unhappy.
Like, what would be like some leading things going on in the world that make you unhappy?
Well, I mean, the obvious cliche things like people who don't have enough to eat, or people who are being, you know, hacked to death in other countries.
How often
or
do you think about that?
Not that often. Not that often, because I,
Because this is
like
downer.
many people, yeah, that, and I can
Yeah.
be self-centered. I can be selfish. I can think about my own problems.
Well, and it's
You
also
know?
not in your face.
Right, exactly. I'm
So,
not
I mean-
confronted with it.
Right.
Why is it that what happens in Africa doesn't really seem to affect me, and I think most people, nearly as much as if it happened elsewhere? To me, like, Africa's just like a lost continent. Did you notice that? Like,
oh, yeah.
It's not
10,000
somewhere
people could
go.
10,000 people could die in Africa tonight.
I
And-
still, I think about that. I've thought about that a lot. I still, I mean, I know, I'm sure that there are, you know, tons of theories on why that is. I don't know. I certainly haven't read enough of them to understand it, but
I think it doesn't seem real to us because it's like it's Africa.
Yeah, it's
We don't
Africa.
go there. I mean, it's we know it's real, but we don't really know concretely that it's real because it's not a place we go to. It's not. We don't meet people from Africa. We don't.
yeah, I don't know. I don't know why it should feel any more foreign to us than
Right, it shouldn't.
anywhere else. I mean, I remember I had a friend who did a year abroad in Israel, our junior year of college. And I remember going to visit her, and we made a trip for a few days into the Sinai Peninsula. And not quite Africa, but so close that I was like walking past, you know, walking through past the sign that said, "Welcome to Egypt," you know. I was just
Yeah.
like, oh my God.
Yeah.
So close. I don't know. It's just, I don't know why there's this disconnect.
Yeah, I had a similar experience when I was there. I remember they said, "Yeah, that's like Lebanon over there," and we were like standing there in the field, and I was fascinated with like,
You could like put your hand
there.
yeah,
Yeah.
Hand there.
hands in
Right,
Lebanon.
right.
I'm in Israel. I mean, it's yeah, it's really weird. I mean, there's some kind of like fantasy or nice squirrel.
He just picked himself, what is that, a lime tree?
I think I'm ready to go.
Okay.
Yeah, I think me too.
I gotta
He
catch a
just
flight.
picked himself
Okay.
a lime and ran off with it. That was pretty cool.
Goodbye.
Goodbye.
And now Monica and Helen will do an interpretive dance about
Right,
what this Torah
right.
portion
Yes.
means.
Are you ready?
You first.
That was great.